So welcome to my video series, Real Talk Wholesale Without the Fluff. And believe me, I've been busy 9 days in the field between Tulsa and Wichita. And I've learned a lot about eliminating the fluff. And we're going to go to video number 5 right now. Top lead acquisition companies rated by speed to lead and conversion. So, do you want to actually close? Here's who delivers and fast. And I'm going to give you my honest take on these as we go, and you can decide for yourself how well they work. The top one rated is Go for Close. Now, that has not been my experience as far as actual leads that I can convert, but it was a good experience with them. It was a good experience with the CEO. He actually gave me an extra 6 weeks because they didn't feel like they had delivered the kind of leads that was going to work for me. See, specifically back then, I was focused on wholesale leads. And I bought their leads from that company based on wholesale lead acquisition. The boarded up, the vacant, the just plain ugly houses. What I found out is that their lead source was picking up distressed rental or better. We were locked into a 3-month contract. I could have opted out sooner, but myself and my partner decided to see it through. And we learned that the leads they get are primarily people who do not have to sell, they want to sell. If you're looking for wholesale, you're usually looking for the troubled properties with troubled people, and then you've heard me say this over and over again, it brings trouble. But it does bring a quick sale too, if you get a hold of the right person. That's part of how it mitigates it. So what happened with Go for Close is we got in a 3-month contract. It's a good bit of change, about $2,500 a month for these leads. And clearly, you need to stack additional strategies on this. It took us 6-7 weeks to figure out that we were never going to get wholesale leads. Right then, we were stacking that as our foundational strategy. But what we found is we were getting distressed rental or better leads. And as we are developed now to embrace those strategies quickly, be able to pivot to them, Go for Close is certainly a possibility. And it's rated here as the best lead company in the business. But that was not my experience, primarily because I was focused on the boarded up, vacant, just plain ugly wholesale acquisition and wasn't really contemplating moving into other areas. But I am now, because the reality is if you're going to use one of these lead services, you have to think differently. So Go for Close. If you have a variety of lead disbursement strategies, in other words, what are you going to do with the lead when you get it? What solution are you going to have? We usually call that a real estate solution. We are and should be real estate solution people. As you grow in the business, you're going to see that more and more. A good friend of mine, Rod Yarder's done over 1,000 deals, says that all the time. I'm not in real estate. I'm in the problem-solving business. And the area he's happy to solve in is real estate. So, Go for Close. I would say if you go into it with a whole bunch of arrows in your quiver and the ability to pick one out and shoot it at any time, then you can make Go for Close work. If you're in the wholesale, do not look at this as a wholesale strategy. I would not Go for Close for wholesale leads because you're not going to get them. Let's go to the second one, speed to lead. Now, after we were disappointed with Go for Close, but arguably, if you have the skill set with them, then you should be able to scale your business. Again, we were looking for wholesale leads. That's what we were focused on. That changed as time went by because after a while, you got to be dealing with reality. But with iSpeed to Lead, we had already had a 4 or 5 months of working with lead acquisition We knew the potential of what we were going to. However, they did sell us on the ability to get wholesale leads. The difference with iSpeed to Lead is how they set it up. And you can pay $199 a month and watch out for specials, and they have them all over the place. They'll take it down to half that much. To qualify for the $29 leads. Those $29 leads are leads that have maybe been on for 5 to 10 days, but are potentials of turning in to business. And as a matter of fact, they're very high potential. You have to be able to solve the problems. Now, on these leads, you're not specifically looking for wholesale. And the deeper that you jump into this form of real estate and looking at boarded up vacant, just plain uglies, the distressed rentals, looking for opportunities to flip that into business, if you want to do that, if you want to rehab it yourself, then you are going to develop more skills. I was a top business coach for Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes, and I was the top because I developed and layered on skills. It's the same thing here. And I do a lot of these videos because part of it is a journey. It's a journey into mastery of real estate. And you got to be able to deal with trouble, and it hits you everywhere. iSpeed to Lead, I found, is got a system that's manageable. I've sent back about 10 to 12 leads, and they've refunded them because maybe they had already sold the house, something like that. Because what they do is they expose the lead to a lot of people unless you lock it in for yourself. Now here's what I've learned. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is make sure that you are calling and present in the area you're marketing. If you are a virtual wholesaler, you are virtually out of luck because people are starting to see through that. There's a lot of gurus, and you've heard me say this, that have tried to spin virtual wholesale because, well, they want your money. But the reality is the need to be present or find somebody who is. Now, I'm from California, so what have I done? I partnered with a buddy of mine in Justin in Wichita, and then through a fluke, but this is an iSpeed to Lead, I joined with Sean in Tulsa, and Sean is 20 years of experience. He focuses on typically wholesale, but what he's done is he's able to stack solutions so everybody's a possibility. So on these iSpeed to Lead, it's gone from, I'm not sure what I want to do I just got to get a hold of them, and then I've got a solution with Sean. And it's the same thing in Wichita as well. And that's where it opens these leads up. If you have enough solutions, then the leads are quite worth it. If you were asking me which ones I would rate, I would probably go with iSpeed to Lead because it's less of a commitment, and it's pretty clear that they come from the same source or pool. Both of these companies have been extremely helpful in being able to source me, in honoring their commitments. So I like both of them for that. So Go for Close, iSpeed to Lead are two that I've worked with, and I would recommend iSpeed to Lead first, Go for Close second, particularly if you have the skill set to layer your business. Either one works, no question, because you're going to get leads of people who are ready to sell. You just got to be ready to solve their problems. Again, with Go for Close, we were coming in with one angle. We went out with many, many more. So it was worth the time. So the next one I want to talk about quickly is Bolt Deals. You get pre-qualified appointments, lead managers, branding support. What you got to do with a company like that is make sure that the kind of leads you want, they'll be able to source. Then again, you've already heard me say how important it is to be able to scale what you do and be the solution for real estate problems, which means that you've got to have a bunch of different levels of skill to be able to do that. Lead Zolo is another one. They're fast. It's limited as far as the kind of leads that they can get you. They're motivated seller targeting, so that's good. You know, again, we talk about what kind of sellers. If a seller doesn't have to sell, then I used to say it's not a lead. It's a lead if you have the solutions. So you've got to upscale your ability to do that. And again, if you can see all the videos I've done, and I've been all over the country several times, I have the solutions. If I can't figure it out, I got somebody who will. And that's exactly what we're doing now in how we're attacking this. So Lead Zolo, they're something that you might want to check out. It's definitely not on my top 2, but they're a good one. And then PropStream is a manual list. It's a do-it-yourself list stacking. They've got skip tracing, great for data mining. These bottom 2 that I talked about in terms of lead acquisition are probably not as strong as Go for Close, iSpeed to Lead, and even Bolt Deals. So I would definitely, out of all of these, iSpeed to Lead, and they advertise. You've seen them on the World Series. If you're a baseball fan like me, you saw them on the postgame show. And there is some real legitimacy if you build your skill set. You're not going to want to do it virtually unless you've got boots on the ground. And the boots on the ground knows the area and knows what they're doing. That means in order for you to get that, you're going to have to go out there. That's how I got that here in Tulsa. I traveled from LA to Tulsa. And I drove a couple times and flew once. So, or actually I've flown a couple times. So that's how you do it. And then you got to sink in to the basic sales skills that you learn. And that is building trust and rapport. You're 60% of the way to anything if you've got trust and rapport. And I've seen that true over and over again. So those are the lead companies that I recommend. Now that you've got leads, we're going to talk about how to manage those leads like a pro with a CRM that really works. That's on our next video. Have a great day.